Chapter 11, Adulthood and Personality. The term adult derives from the Latin word adultus, meaning literally grown up. The past participle of the verb adolescence is to grow up. Concept of adulthood is a distinctive phase of the human life cycle, but it is, however, a relatively modern invention, quite similar to the concepts of childhood and adolescence that did not exist in medieval society. Concept of adulthood is a distinctive period in human development, did not emerge until the dawn of the century. In short, distinctive life stage emerged after all other life stages: childhood, adolescence, and old age. This is actually the least studied phase in human development. Three main theoretical approaches in the study of adulthood. Number one is stage theory. Number two is consistency or no change theory. And number three is the dialectic theory. So the stage theory was partly discussed in Chapter 8. Stage theories on personality develop or changes through a certain pattern of age-line stages that are more or less universal. Freud's psychosexual development and Piaget's cognitive development limited to pre-adult stages that did not elaborate on what would happen to personality after adolescence. So a notable study in the respect by Levinson was conducted, and this was an intensive biographical and clinical interviews of a sample of 40 middle-aged men between the ages of 35 and 45 from diverse socioeconomic, racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds, hourly workers in industry, business executive, university, biologist, and novelist, whites and blacks, Protestants, Catholics, and Jews. Only studying men would do justice compared to studying both men and women. This is also because Levinson wanted to deeply understand his own adult development. His main research question was, is there a normal process of individual development in early and middle adulthood? His research did take 2 years to complete. That included Levinson and his associates. So the concept of life structure is a basic pattern of design of a person's life at a given time. This gives us a way of looking at the engagement of the individual in society. And we're required to consider both self and world and the relationships between them. The study showed that the life structure goes through a process of development in adulthood, primary focus of the analysis. Adult development is defined by Levinson as evolution of the life structure during the adult years. Adult life courses are shaped by development periods. So alternating series of structure building and structure changing transitional periods. Each structural building period lasts about 6 or 7 years. One forms a life of structure and enhances life within it. So an example of this would be making certain key choices and pursuing one's goals within the structure. Structure changing periods usually last 4 to 5 years, times of shifting from one life structure to another. The example would be transition in one's occupational role or transformation in marital status, like widowhood. Transition periods could either be better or for worse. Much of our lives is taken up with separations and new beginnings, exits and entries, departures and arrivals. Transitions are an intrinsic part of development, but they are often painful. Levinson's developmental model includes 4 life structure building periods: entering the adult world, settling down, entering middle adulthood, and culmination of adulthood, and 5 transition periods: early adult transition, age 30 transition, midlife transition, age 50 transition, and late adult transition. So all of these did have a set age group. So the early adult transition is from age 17 to 22. and it's defined as start moving out of the pre-adult world and make a preliminary step into the adult world, entering the adult world age 22 to 28 to fashion the first adult life structure that provides a link between the valued self and the adult society. Age 30 transition, age 28 to 33, to work on the flaws in the first adult life structure and to create a basis for the second structure. Settling down, age 33 to 40, to build the second life structure by anchoring one's life more firmly, develop competence in a chosen craft, become a valued member of a valued world, and be affirmed in the world. My midlife transition, age 40 to 45, is to reappraise one's life and to critically examine the previous life structure, the settling down, by addressing such serious questions as what have I done with my life? What do I really get from and give to my wife, children, friends, work, community, and self? Entering middle adulthood, age 45 to 50, to build a new life structure for the launching of middle age by making crucial choices and giving these choices meaning and commitment, as was the case of entering the adult world. Age 50 transition, age 50 to 55, to work further on the task of the midlife transition and to modify the life structure of entering the adult world. Age 50 transition, culmination of middle adulthood, age 55 to 60, is to build a second life structure toward completing middle adulthood, comparable to settling down in early adulthood. Late adulthood transition, age 60 to 65, is to conclude the efforts of middle adulthood and to create a basis for starting late adulthood. For Levinson, adult development is a process of building and rebuilding the individual's life structure by meeting various tasks of age-linked developmental periods. And now we move on to Gold's theory of transformations in adult life. And it's the basic concept of adult development and transformation. Growth is defined as a transformation. A transformation is an expansion of self-definition. And there are 7 phases of transformation, 7 different age groups, which was later compressed to 6, but in actuality only 5 since the last one was relatively explored. And that leaves us with leaving our parents' world, age 16 to 22. I'm nobody's baby now, age 22 to 28. Opening up to what's inside, age 28 to 34. Midlife decade, age 34 to 45. Beyond midlife, 45 and over. Gold's observations are more philosophical than scientific. Now we move on to midlife crisis, whether it's a myth or a reality. The notion of midlife crisis grew out of life stage theories prevalent in the 1970s. The following symptoms are what the crisis model claims, which is feelings of ambivalence, urgency, self-doubt, boredom, depression, relentless, and disillusionment. Number 2 is drastic behavioral changes or problems such as sudden job change, marital problems or extra marital affairs, divorce, alcoholism, and suicide. Now it's the consistency of no change theory. The debate on midlife crisis hinges upon a larger question: does personality change in adulthood? And stage theory does, and midlife crisis is one of the many changes that happen in the adult lifespan. Consistency theory also claims an empirical base. The dialectic theory is the third alternative paradigm in the study of adulthood in the dialectic theory of human development. It seeks to understand changes in the individual in a changing social world. This theory rejects the consistency of stability or trait theory and stresses the ambiguity of personality changes that take place in the interaction with socio-historical changes, and is concerned with short-term situational changes. Marital socialization and personality. This is marriage, where marriage is supposed to provide or is expected to provide something people are looking for in adult life. Friedman says that marriage provides companionship and social security. Americans also rated three most stressful events in their life, and that's death of a spouse, divorce, and marital separation. And these signify loss or termination of marital relationship. Then we also have divorce prone personality or divorce society. And the proneness for high divorce is urban background, lower socioeconomic strains, no church affiliation, teenage marriage, shorter acquaintanceship, less than 6 months, parents with unhappy marriages, and that is with American wives' extensive participation in workforce. Heterogamy is marriages of persons with different backgrounds, and that has a lot to do with social acceptance of divorce in America, the culture of replaceability, and liberalization of divorce laws. Also, occupational socialization and personality. Work to make a living by occupation provides a person with an important social identity, and the effects of unemployment is the response to job loss. Responses to job loss varies between person. Usual response is shock and disbelief, followed by questioning oneself. Underemployment and job dissatisfaction. A good job has the following factors. It pays enough to eliminate the family's economic hardship. A good job allows us measure of autonomy, and a good job minimizes conflict between the demands of work and family.